What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So, Fallout 76, what else can we really say about it at this point? Well, believe it or not, they keep digging the hole deeper and deeper and deeper, and wow, yesterday it was something else. We saw some crazy stuff online after the collector's edition appeared to just be blatant false advertising. This is really something else. We're going to go over this because it's bad. I don't know what happened to Bethesda. It's almost like overnight a switch was flipped and they're basically almost EA at this point. I mean, they're just about EA. We're going to go over all of that. And then we're also going to talk a bit about why you might be wanting to look into the news for Dragon Age in some way, because fans of that series might be excited in the next few weeks. As always, guys, if you enjoy this video, make sure you do hit the like button. It does help out. We're going to start with some quick news. We're going to actually start with Grid Autosport because it has been announced to be coming to the Nintendo Switch in 2019. This is done by Codemasters, and it's actually being developed by the same company that actually moved it over to the iOS iOS, iPad, iPhone, and Mac, and that is Feral Interactive. So Grid Autosport was out back in 2014 on 360, PS3, and PC, and then it was moved to the cell phone and iPad with the iPhone and the iPad later on in 2017. So it's not super old on the ARM chipset side. However, of course, it's been out since 2014. Now it looks like Codemasters is moving over to the Switch. And remember, we saw Codemasters up on that slide and people were trying to figure out what they were doing. Well, I guess they're doing Grid Autosport, it seems. And I'm not really sure how this is going to play out because it's not super expensive on the iPhone and iPad. I think it's like $10 and there's in-app purchases. I'm curious if it's just going to be like the 360 version, for example, that just comes over, the PC version even, and just drops onto the Switch. It's a racing game that was okay. It's not bad, but I mean, if you look at what's on the Switch right now, there's not a lot of racing games outside of, Mario Kart, for example. There's Gear Club as well, but if you want simulation racing games alongside Gear Club, there's not a ton out there that use like actual cars and everything, and that's something we're going to see here kind of roll in with Grid Autosport. Is it's going to be a game that's closer to like an arcade simulation racing game. And I know the Switch doesn't have analog triggers, which a lot of people obviously like analog triggers when they're playing driving games. So maybe there's some hesitance there for a lot of companies that do driving games, but we'll see how Grid Autosport does, and we'll also see when it launches because that'll also kind of determine how well it does. And also, we had an update for Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, and it was a little weird. I'm not really sure what the deal is here, but apparently WayForward Games is going to be helping them complete the game. Essentially, they're going to help them in development, and WayForward's known, of course, for Shantae, so they know what they're doing with these 2D-style games. I'm just not really sure why they are calling them in now. We thought this game was going to be finishing up, in 2019 at some point. Now, here comes another development company coming in to help work on this thing, so it's making a lot of fans concerned about development. I kind of understand because they've been waiting for this game for a little while. Sure, we got Curse of the Moon semi-recently now, and that was a great game, but it's not Ritual of the Night, what they really, really want. I like to think that WayForward is coming in to do some good work and really bring this thing to the finish line with some quality to it because they know what they're doing with, obviously, Shantae, but why weren't they brought in before, like a while ago? I don't know. I'm concerned that this game is going to miss 2019 even. I hope not. I hope it's maybe a fall release for 2019, because if they're coming in now, it doesn't exactly spell out that the game is just about ready to go, so it might be a little while. Now, and here's some more fun Bethesda news. Remember how we saw Elder Scrolls Blaze at E3, and it's going to be coming out on the iOS and Android systems first, and then eventually Blaze is going to move its way to the consoles, and they want it to have crossplay between everything. Well, it looks like their original plan was to release it before the end of 2018. Doesn't look to be happening. They're actually going to be releasing it in 2019, according to a tweet that was put out. And while that's kind of a shame, I guess, at this point, the only thing people seem to care about from Bethesda is Fallout 76 and them fixing it. So maybe they looked at this situation and said, maybe we should wait till things cool down a bit for Bethesda and just anything that could be related to Fallout. And we're going to talk about that because Elder Scrolls does kind of correlate to it after some code was found in Fallout, go figure. So maybe they're just thinking, you know what, we don't want this game to go out there and just get bad press just because it's in proximity to Fallout 76. It's also possible it's just not ready. But it's not exact. It probably isn't something they were banking on for the holiday season or anything. They're probably just going to look for it next year when hopefully they have Fallout 76 at least somewhat fixed. And with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff, guys. And we're starting with Fallout 76 because, oddly enough, there was a tweet put out. And it wasn't a good tweet because it talked about the collector's edition for Fallout 76. That's the version that you put out $200 for, and you get like the cool, the armor helmet and everything. You get a cool canvas bag. Well, they took a picture of that bag, and this is what they got. Not that canvas bag, a nylon bag that looks very low quality, by the way. This was in a tweet put out by All Games Delta, and they go on to kind of talk about how they got in contact with support, and they weren't very helpful about it at all. They talk about how, of course, it was a canvas bag, as you can see here in Figure 1, Canvas West Tech duffel bag, and it looks, it looks pretty high quality there in the picture, at least, that they're trying to sell you on the item with, and it's not at all that. It's completely different, and it's very low quality. And what was really bad here, and this is where things get pretty embarrassing, to be honest, is Fallout 76, or the Fallout Twitter handle rolls in, and what do they say? Well, they say, unfortunately, due to unavailability of materials, we had to switch to a nylon carrying case in the Fallout 76 Power Armor Edition. We hope this doesn't prevent anyone from enjoying what we feel is one of our best collector's edition. That's their best collector's edition? Are we sure about that? Because, well, that bag doesn't really scream best if you really look at it. So, of course, they get pummeled with a lot of bad press. And what do? Well, they say you can have 500 of the atoms, or the 500 in-game currency, which is like $5 in play money. Yep, that's the compensation they're offering to the people who put $200 in to the Power Armor Collector's Edition. Yes, that's where we are with this game. I didn't think it could get worse. I really didn't. I was looking at it and said, okay, it's just a buggy, broken mess. Hopefully they fix it. And you know what? They should give refunds to people who want their money back, because the game just was not in a sellable state. And then, well, here's the collector's edition, and that's not in a sellable state. Nylon. Why is there a nylon bag? Because the materials are unavailable. It's a canvas bag. What are they talking about? They spent $200 on it. I don't even think they got a game disc with it, right? They weren't even giving out game discs with this thing, were they? I thought they were it was like download voucher codes that when you bought like a game in the store. And this is one of probably the biggest train wrecks this generation, probably the biggest at this point. I mean, think about how you felt about Bethesda a year ago. And then a year later, this is how we feel about them. They're a laughingstock to the internet because the game is just terrible. They refuse to move on from the engine. They're delivering poor experiences, and now they're not even delivering on what's clearly advertised in the advertisement they're putting out for their collector's edition. It's false advertisement, right? They said, hey, it's canvas bag in this $200 collector's edition, pretty cool, and then they send you something completely different. I mean, it's like the definition of false advertising. So after this, people started looking into, well, what can we buy with 500 atoms? Well, my favorite reply to the Fallout Twitter handle, after they said, we'll give you 500 atoms or $5 in play money, they said apparently you can't even buy the actual canvas bag digitally in the game because that's 700 atoms. That's right. You can't buy it even in the game with what they're compensating you for. That's actually from Chris Livingston, where he says, ironically, 500 atoms won't even buy you the Fallout 76 Postman skin that actually has a canvas bag because it costs 700. So you're going to have to pony up another 200 atoms, but, you can use your credit card for that, I guess. And then things went even further yesterday when people started kind of diving into the code, and they found that some of the code was recycled straight up from, like, Fallout 4 and even Skyrim. An enemy was recycled straight up from Skyrim, and the way they figured this out was they left the comment code. Usually when you're going through coding and everything, you'll leave little comments by putting symbols in front of it that will tell your program or your algorithm not even to just disregard this text. It's for people who look through it. And it just shows clear signs of saying for things like Fallout 4 and things for Skyrim. So that's kind of where we are now with this game. Now, it's not super uncommon for just companies to reuse code, but everything about this just feels cash grabby. It feels lazy. It feels rushed. The collector's edition is even helping. Like, they could have at least put out a good collector's edition. I mean, they put out a nylon bag because they didn't have materials. That makes no sense. Let me know what you guys think about this whole Fallout 76 thing, because I thought we were almost done with it. But it keeps getting worse. Like, what's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen over the weekend? what else can this game do? I mean, are we at the lowest of the low for this thing, or can it go lower? Next up, let's talk about one of my favorite Twitter handles. It's Walmart Canada, because they provide the best information. If you remember at E3, they leaked out a whole bunch of stuff. Some of it wasn't even true, and well, you never know. Splinter Cell could show up at some point, but they told us about Rage 2, and Bethesda even made fun of them for it. But Walmart Canada, you know, they're keeping us informed, and they had another run-in yesterday, and it kind of made us all start thinking about more video game awards announcements, and this one actually kind of makes sense. So, you know, thanks for at least putting the idea into our head there, Walmart Canada. Now, what am I talking about? Well, Jeff Keighley decided to put out a tweet that kind of made that remark. We're not going to share anything now, not put them out there. All eyes on you, Walmart Canada. Please don't do that to us. And then people underneath of that said, can you elaborate on this? And it was a listing on Walmart Canada for Death Stranding that said it was going to release in June. So, all right, that could be a placeholder. What does Walmart Canada do? For some reason, they insert themselves into this conversation. I have no idea why. You can see the tweet here. They simply say, in response to that Death Stranding listing, "Hi, as per the information stated for this item, this is a pre-order item that will ship in June." Oh, Walmart Canada. Now, what's really funny is below that got some great responses, by the way. Below that, though, they said, sorry, our mistake, that date is a placeholder. There is no release date for this product, but oh, was that funny. I saw that, I said, wow, that's good job, Walmart Canada. They're, again, favorite Twitter handle. It makes no sense why Walmart Canada would be leaking this stuff, but why not? It is interesting to note, though, the release date for Death Stranding at the VGAs would actually make sense. Remember, there's no E3 next year. There's the PlayStation Experience, but that will be later in the year when we would hope that Death Stranding is almost ready for release. I mean, is this going to be a game that comes out as a cross-generation game, PS4, PS5? Is it a PS5 game? Maybe. It's hard to say. It could be a PS4 game that's very late. It could come out on the PS4 when the PS5's already out, or it could be a 2019 game, especially if they have the release date as a big reveal for the VGAs. I mean, think about how close Jeff Keighley and Kojima, how they are. You never know. I mean, he keeps getting the trailers, you know, straight up at the VGAs, so it's very possible that talking with Sony and talking with Kojima, that they'll flash that release date up on screen. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about a bunch of updates surrounding EA properties. BioWare, for example, is all in there. And they did talk about Anthem. Remember, we heard rumors about Anthem possibly being delayed. Doesn't look like that's really the case, as they're going to start up a closed alpha that's going to be going into effect, and you're going to be able to sign up if you would like. And what's interesting there is, usually when you have a closed alpha coming up to that February release, yeah, I mean, you're about to let people play it. It's going to be under NDA, by the way. Again, you have to sign up and they might pick you for it. But it's interesting to see them starting that closed alpha. Another interesting thing to note here is they talk a bit about Dragon Age. This is actually in this posting that they put up as an update, saying, "Dragon Age is an incredibly important franchise in our studio, and we're excited to continue its legacy. Look for more on this in the coming month, though I won't tell you where to look." Now, very possible, again, we're coming up to the Video Game Awards, 10 plus announcements there. Could Dragon Age be teased or just outright shown there in a trailer? Yeah, it's very possible. I mean, they could talk about it here, and then maybe it comes out next year, next holiday or so, maybe in the fall leading up to the holidays, because EA is starting to kind of stack that holiday a bit. Anthem's coming out earlier in the year. Maybe they even want Dragon Age kind of over the summer. It's very possible there as well. But the VGAs make a lot of sense. They do talk about how there's going to be more information this month coming up. That's December, because, you know, we're still in technically November now, but it's coming up in December. I would like to see it there at the VGAs. Remember, we had Dragon Age Inquisition, and there are a lot of people who really like that game, but I do understand why people are hesitant about being excited for this news, because it's still EA, and they could do things like make it a live services, put loot boxes in there, and just annoy the fan base anyway. So we'll be hesitant with it, but it would be really cool to see another Dragon Age game after hearing about how their staff kind of got knocked down a bit to like a skeleton crew while they were really pushing for Anthem, which seems like it's just about ready to come out. So maybe there is some attention being shifted back to Dragon Age, and that'd be really cool to see it there. They also did talk about Mass Effect a bit. Remember, we had N7 Day recently. We got that 4K patch for Mass Effect Andromeda on the Xbox One X, which is pretty cool. It looks good and everything, but not much else. According to them, they understand how big of a deal that N7 Day was and how excited people got about them recognizing Mass Effect again. So, in their words, we have plans for Mass Effect So I guess look out for that. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit the like button. Does help out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about today, whether it is Fallout 76, the train wreck, the dumpster fire, just the game that is Fallout 76 and that situation. I think it's become outright embarrassing for Bethesda at this point. It's really bad. But let me know your thoughts on it, because I think people are still enjoying the game, but man, it's hard to even talk about defending this game at all when you're seeing kind of the product that they're putting out there. I mean, the collector's edition is that's literally a physical embodiment of the game and what's all happening here. But it's not good. Also, what do you think about the VGAs? Do you think we're lined up for some big announcements? Death Stranding, Dragon Age, right? Let me know your guys' thoughts about that, because that's less than a week now. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.